In an ordinary family, on a rainy night, the cry of a baby boy filled the small house. That was the day Athip was born, a child whose eyes seemed unusually bright from the very beginning. As he grew older, Athip became a handsome young man with sharp features and intelligent eyes. From a young age, he showed an exceptional talent in mathematics. Numbers that confused his classmates felt like puzzles to him, challenges he enjoyed solving. At 17 years old, he was in his final year of high school. Teachers placed high hopes on him because whenever he truly focused, his grades were excellent. In mathematics, he sometimes achieved perfect scores. If he stays on this path, he has a very bright future, his homeroom teacher once told his parents. His parents were proud. They dreamed of seeing their son enter a good university and build a stable, successful life. But beneath his talent and potential, there was another side of Athip that no one fully noticed. He was deeply attached to his friends. He loved laughter, excitement, and the feeling of belonging. After school, he rarely went straight home. Whether it was gaming cafes, coffee shops, or late-night outings, he was always with his group. He began skipping classes more frequently. Assignments were submitted late. Teachers started warning him. Though he could still achieve good grades when he tried, his focus slowly faded. Just this once. "I'll study tomorrow," he often told himself. One time became many times. Many times became a habit. He was a boy who could succeed. But he was beginning to choose not to. At that time, his friends were his entire world. And he had no idea that following them down certain paths would take him further than he ever imagined. So far that returning would almost become impossible. As time passed, Athip spent more and more nights away from home. His circle of friends changed. Study groups turned into party gatherings. Afternoons at cafes turned into late-night meetings in dimly lit rooms. Within that group, some had already crossed a dangerous line. One night, while music echoed through a small rented room filled with laughter and smoke, a friend held something out to him. "Just try it. One time won't hurt." Athip laughed softly. He believed he was in control. He believed he was stronger than temptation. The first time, he hesitated. The second time, nothing seemed to happen. The third time, he told himself, "It's not a big deal." The sensation was subtle at first, a lightness in his body, a temporary escape from stress, the world seeming easier and brighter for a short while. He liked that feeling. Just trying became one more time. One more time became every time they met. A few days became weeks. Weeks turned into months. Months quietly became a year. Athip began to change without realizing it. By day, he looked almost the same. By night, he was someone else. Every evening he left home with excuses, group study, school activities, meeting friends. But in truth, he was searching for only one thing. If a night passed without it, he grew restless, irritated. His mood became unstable. Small problems felt overwhelming. He snapped at his parents for no reason. He had started depending on it just to feel normal. The once promising student now had distant eyes. The son his parents were proud of began avoiding their gaze. Soon, he was no longer just experimenting. He was part of that world. Each night exposed him to darker scenes, people with money, people who had lost everything, loud laughter, silent tears in shadowed corners. The night taught him different lessons. It taught him how to lie more easily, how to spend money without thinking, how to ignore tomorrow. Without realizing it, he had already crossed the thin line between trying and being unable to stop. And from that point on, his life slowly began drifting into darkness, quietly, steadily, while no one at home knew that a storm was forming in the life of the son they once believed in so completely. Athip's changes did not escape his mother's eyes forever. At first, she tried to convince herself that it was just adolescence, that it was normal for a teenage boy to become distant, to seek independence, to have secrets. But as the days passed, the light in her son's eyes began to fade. The bright, focused gaze she once knew had grown distant. His warm laughter had turned into irritation and sudden mood swings. He came home later and later. His bedroom door was locked more often. Sometimes, a strange scent drifted faintly from beneath the door. Some nights, he barely spoke to anyone. A mother's heart trembles long before proof appears. Quietly, she began observing him more closely, watching, listening, wondering which path her son was walking down. Then one afternoon, after school, Athep returned home in a rush. His grip tightened around his bag. He avoided meeting her eyes. Without a word, he hurried straight upstairs to his room. Something felt wrong. His mother followed slowly, her steps careful, her heartbeat echoing loudly in her ears. When she reached his bedroom door, she heard faint, suspicious sounds coming from inside, small movements, restless shifting. She knocked softly. No answer. Fear crept into her chest. Finally, she pushed the door open. The sight before her froze her world. Her son, the boy she had raised with love and dreams, was doing something she had never imagined witnessing inside her own home. Athep, what are you doing? Her voice trembled before breaking into tears. He flinched, turning toward her with eyes filled with shock and anger. It's my life. Why can't I do what I want? He shouted back, his voice sharp and unfamiliar. Through tears, she rushed forward and grabbed the forbidden substance from his hands. Without hesitation, she ran downstairs and threw it into the trash outside the house. That single act ignited something fierce inside him. Why would you do that? I wasn't even, he yelled, frustration surging through his body. His hands trembled. His mind burned with agitation. He wasn't just angry. His body was craving. The tension exploded. He shouted. His voice echoed through the house. His mother stood there, heartbroken, tears streaming down her face. She had never imagined her life would reach this moment. In a desperate surge of fear and pain, she grabbed a broom leaning against the wall and struck him twice, not brutally, but firmly enough to break the silence between them. Athep froze for a split second. Then his eyes flared with fury. You've never hit me my entire life. How could you do this to me now? He shouted. His words cut deeper than the broom ever could. She had not struck him out of hatred. She had struck him out of fear, fear of losing her son forever. But to a young man drowning in his own darkness, it felt like betrayal. Blinded by anger, Athep grabbed his bag and stormed out of the house. The door slammed shut behind him. He did not look back. In his mind, there was only one place that would comfort him, his friends. He believed they would understand him better. He believed that was where he belonged. He did not realize that walking out of his home that night was the step that truly began the collapse of his life. 1 year after running away from home, Athep believed he had finally found freedom. He drifted across the city like a shadow without an anchor. Some nights he slept in abandoned houses. Other nights he stayed at friends' places. They moved constantly, settling wherever no one asked questions. To him, that was freedom, no rules, no lectures, no disappointed stares from his parents. Just laughter, noise, and nights that melted into mornings without consequence. Then one day, everything changed. He saw her. Away was walking home after school, her backpack resting lightly on her shoulders. She looked untouched by the darkness that clung to him, graceful, pure, almost fragile. As Athep rode past on his motorcycle, he turned to look at her and nearly lost control. From that day on, he found excuses to pass her street. At first, Away barely spoke to him. She could see the roughness in him, the restless eyes, the danger hidden beneath his silence. But he kept coming back, persistent and unapologetic. Eventually, she softened. Away was diligent and kind, raised in a wealthy and disciplined family. Perhaps Athep was her first love, reckless, thrilling, forbidden. Her parents disapproved immediately. They saw exactly who he was. But Athep did not care. He continued showing up, waiting outside her house, taking her out late into the night, until her parents had enough. They filed a police report. Officers began quietly monitoring Athep's movements. One night, Athep and his friends were transporting illegal goods across city lines, unaware that a checkpoint had already been set up. Red and blue lights tore through the darkness. He was arrested on the spot. The evidence was seized. His parents did not learn about it until a week later. When they finally heard their son was in jail, their world shattered once again. They rushed to secure his release. But Athep felt no remorse. I just made a mistake, he told himself. If I had been smarter, they wouldn't have caught me. Confined at home under strict watch and constant scolding, he lasted only a few days before running away again, this time leaving no trace behind. When his parents realized he was gone once more, their grief hardened into quiet surrender. Let fate decide, his father whispered. Deep down, they knew. Their son was walking farther away than they could ever reach.